A very warm welcome to all the NRI viewers of Bicaps channel, Business India CA Angad Pal Singh. Whenever I am consulting the NRIs regarding their taxation in India, so the most important thing that comes into consideration is their residential status, whether or not they qualify to be a resident or a non-resident in India. And this is important because lots of tax provisions they apply on either residents or non-residents or both. And for the people who are staying outside India, they think that they are NRIs, but it's not like that. You might be NRIs in normal terms, but for income tax purposes, your residential status, whether you are a resident or an NRI, it depends upon certain parameters that are defined in Section 6 of the Income Tax Act. And by the way, I'm not going to be that technical during this session. I'm only going to talk very relevant and in very simple terms for you to understand. So let's quickly start without further ado. So first of all, please accept this disclaimer that the contents of this video are the personal interpretations of myself. Viewers are advised to take professional help while making transaction decisions. Neither Bicaps nor me are responsible towards the viewers or any other person acting on behalf or on the basis of this content. So residential status, first of all, you need to understand that this is determined separately for each year. And in India, year means April to March. So for every year, residential status is to be determined in a separate manner. So let's say for 2019-20, you were a resident, but for 2020 and 21, you might be a non-resident, and it depends on the parameter for that particular year. I hope this is very clear. So let's move ahead. So residential status, it depends on two conditions and three tweaks. This is how I have put in here to make it easy for you to understand. So two conditions and three tweaks. So let's quickly move forward. So what are the two conditions? So you qualify to be a resident in India if you qualify either of the two conditions. So even if you qualify any one conditions, you are a resident. The first condition is 182 days condition. Another one is 60 days plus 365 days condition. Now let's understand what are these two conditions. So 182 days condition says that if you stay in India for 182 days or more during the relevant year, the year for which we are determining the residential status, if in that year you stay in India for 182 days or more, either in a single stretch or in parts, you are considered a resident. Very simple. Let's move to second condition, 60 days plus 365 days condition. So it says that for the relevant year, if you are in India for 60 days or more, and implies that these two conditions are cumulative. So you need to satisfy both of these conditions to be a resident. So if you are in India for 60 days or more during the relevant previous year, and you stay in India for 365 days or more in total during the 4 years immediately preceding the relevant year. So this is also very simple. So if you are determining the status for 2021, so in India you have to be there for 60 days or more during 2021, and for the past 4 years, immediately preceding 4 years, you need to be in India for 365 days or more, whether in a single stretch or in parts. So these are the two conditions. If you satisfy either of them, you are considered as a resident in India, a tax resident. Now there are three tweaks in these conditions. The first tweak is leaving for employment tweak, the second is visit to India tweak, and the third is nowhere resident tweak. So let's quickly understand these tweaks. The first is leaving for employment tweak. It says that in the year of leaving India as a member of the crew of a ship or for the purpose of employment outside India, the second condition, 60 days plus 365 days condition, does not apply. So that means if you are a person who is leaving India for the purpose of an employment in any year, or leaving as a member of a crew of a ship, then to be a resident, you have to qualify the first condition. That is 182 days condition. You need to be in India for 182 days or more in the relevant year. So let's take a small example that let's say you got a job outside India and you are leaving India on 1st June 2020. So you were there in India for 60 days or more, and for the past 4 years you were also there in India for 365 days or more, but still you will not be considered as resident because you were there in India for only 60 days and you are leaving for the purpose of employment. So you will need to stay in India for 182 days or more if you need to be qualified as a resident. Next is visit to India tweak. So for OCI or PIO, that means overseas citizens of India or persons of Indian origin, if they are visiting India in any year, then this 60 days plus 365 days condition does not apply. So that means for an OCI or PIO visiting India, they also have to qualify the first condition of being in India for the relevant year for 182 days or more. Only then they will be resident, otherwise they will qualify as a non-resident. And the second part of this tweak is that if such OCI or PIO who are visiting in India and having Indian income of 15 lakhs or more, Indian income. So that means the income which is accruing or arising in India or deemed to accrue or arise in India. So if they are having Indian income of 15 lakh or more during such year, then this 60 days plus 365 days condition will apply to them, but not as 60 plus 365, but as 120 plus 365. So that means for that year, relevant year, they will have to stay in India for 120 days or more, and for they have to stay in India for 365 days or more for 4 years immediately preceding the relevant year. So I think this is also very much clear. So next is nowhere resident tweak. So this is a very new provision in the Indian income tax law, that if a person who is an Indian citizen and he has an Indian income of more than 15 lakhs during a year, and he does not qualify as a tax resident of any other country due to any parameters, like India has certain parameters for qualifying as a tax resident, and if the person does not qualify in any other country as a tax resident, then he or she shall be considered as tax resident in India. So this is very simple. Two basic conditions and 3 tweaks. You simply need to check this. You can, to understand this properly, you can actually, rewind this video, watch again and again, and then be very confident whether you are a resident or non-resident in India. Thank you very much for watching this video. We'll come up with more such videos, especially for NRIs. Thank you.